It's hard to imagine that any ecosystem could recover from the type of devastation that a tropical storm can inflict. Large, majestic coral structures that teem with life are shattered into rubble in just a few short hours. Yet the process of renewal begins as coral fragments regrow and coralline algae cement the remains, re-establishing the structure of the reef. After a disturbance, new corals settle to replace the algae, moving the reef back toward a coral-dominated system. This can happen when the interconnections between the corals and the other organisms on the reef remain unbroken, providing them with the capacity to resist dramatic and temporary changes in living conditions, such as storms, pest outbreaks, and bleaching events. After a disturbance, a healthy coral reef can fully regenerate within the space of just 5 to 20 years.
Reefs have a certain resilience. They can actually bounce back from things like cyclone damage or the occasional flood. Coral reefs are like one of those punching clowns that sort of, if you hit them, they go down, but they'll bounce back. The problem comes when you increase the frequency of those things so that they happen more and more often, because like the clown, if you keep on punching them before they get back up again, eventually they won't get back up again.
The ability of reefs to recover now is considerably lessened because of these other disturbances. And so the study of resilience is really asking how likely is it that this reef is going to continue to be able to sort of bounce back from some kind of disturbance.
So you can't really take climate change out as a separate variable. It's the sum total of all of the factors. It's what we're doing to them from the point of view of coastal runoff and pollution from the land. It's what we're doing to them in terms of taking the fish that do important ecological roles. And then when you add warming and acidification over the top, you start to get to a point where reefs can't bounce back.
Coral reefs are complex and dynamic ecosystems undergoing constant change. If man-made stresses exceed the capacity of the reef to regenerate, then macroalgae takes over in a way that makes it difficult for coral to recolonize in the future. This is called a phase shift. Temporary changes in state are pushed beyond a critical threshold, forming a new stable state, but one that is very much degraded in terms of biodiversity and resilience. When these shifts happen, they are often sudden and unforeseen, and once they have occurred, they are very challenging to reverse.
And that's what reefs are facing with climate change. The background risk is increasing, so we're getting more cases of really big bleaching events, and they're happening more often, and they're happening in a way where reefs can't bounce back in time, in between.
There is a lot of lag in climate systems, and that even if we stop today putting carbon into the atmosphere, there would be a knock-on into the future. We will continue to lose a certain amount of biodiversity, but what's important is that we mustn't throw our arms in the air and refuse to do anything about it. We must acknowledge that fact and bring back, as far as possible, carbon emissions, and that means we will give the life on the planet the best possible chance for survival in the future.
The best thing that we can do for reefs in terms of climate change is the best thing that we can do for them in general, and that is to reduce the local stressors. The better that we can maintain and restore reefs, then the better condition they'll be in to confront climate change, which is coming in a big way. The good news is that by implementing the management strategies that we already have, we can do that.
Reducing overfishing, establishing marine parks, improving water quality, and restricting damaging coastal development is the best way we can make our reefs resilient to climate change. But action on climate change is still essential for the future of reefs.
It's almost certain that the life on the planet will change to some degree, and what we're trying to do now is limit that change as much as possible. And I believe, and as a species, humans are very good at doing that. We've changed the climate, now we can change it back.